RFID certainly has a role in sensible cities. Wherever inventory is moved, RFID has a role. You have vehicles in a city, you have inventory, you might have, tables in a conference hall, you may have equipment that's moved in and out. RFID lets you keep track of it. Especially today, cities are struggling for money, and the last thing they want to do is waste resources. Hospitals are struggling for funds. Did you know that in hospitals, equipment like an ultrasound machine, equipment gets misplaced or is difficult to find a surprising number of times. And in fact, if you could track inventory, you could keep your asset numbers much lower, and you can have the same efficiency with much fewer pieces of equipment. So in fact, RFID has a very fundamental role in any agency that delivers services to citizens. So cities today, as you know, a lot of them are strapped for cash, yet they're growing, especially in the developing world. You have thousands of people moving in, and you need to provide services to these millions and millions of people that are moving into cities every day. How do you provide these services? And over the course of the last few days, you've heard from other professors who've talked about sensible cities. One of the things that really excites me is the concept of crowdsourced city information. And I use the word crowdsourced somewhat liberally. Take, for example, traffic lights and street lights. Well, let's say there's a street light that's broken on a street in Cambridge. How does the city know? Well, what they do is they send people around to inspect them, and that happens occasionally. If the light is out, it might be broken for weeks, months, maybe a year before someone notices. Maybe there's more crime there as a result, and so on. Now, wouldn't it be wonderful if you could just stick a camera facing up on every cop car, and as the cars ply the city, they provide semi-real-time information about which streetlights are working and which are not. It's such a simple concept, and that's what we're doing. So, for example, we have a project where we put cameras and light sensors on city vehicles, and we're doing this in the UK and in Spain, where with our sponsor Ferrovial, we're looking at streetlight intensities and monitoring streetlight conditions. Another project we have is we use thermal imaging to see which buildings are leaking heat. And we use that to permit or enable the building owner to take measures to fix these problems. And I think there's just a fascinating array of these technologies just waiting. You can have citizens self-report, for example. There's a number of projects like that, where you have an app, you just take a picture of something, you send it in, and the city automatically digests that piece of information, and out comes a report that says, that particular road has a pothole in it. So this area of city scanning, crowdsourcing, or citizen-reported city infrastructure monitoring, I believe is going to make cities more efficient, safer, and frankly more cost efficient.